Does the divorce revolution go hand in hand with the sexual revolution that we saw in the 60s and 70s?
Yeah, I think that's certainly part of the story is that sort of as mores shifted around sex and marriage, I mean, the 70s were known as kind of like the swinging 70s, for instance. People's commitment to, sticking with their spouse and, honoring, the sort of the marriage vow in any number of ways, certainly diminished. So that's part and parcel of why divorce skyrocketed. I think also, though, we can think about the 70s as kind of like the me decade, what Tom Wolfe, again, called the me decade. And people began to see marriage in terms of like what makes me happy, what makes me fulfilled, much less likely to think about marriage in terms of, duty and obligation, being a good spouse, being a good mother, a good father. And so that kind of me first mentality also proved corrosive when it came to marital stability as well. The problem with kind of that more soulmate view or that more romantic view of marriage is it puts too much, I think, emphasis on just kind of feelings and on what makes me as an individual happy. And, no person, no relationship is capable of kind of making us happy all the time or even most of the time. And if we think about ourselves as our primary concern, the paradox here is that we end up actually being, not just more likely to get divorced, but also less happy. Whereas if we kind of think about marriage as an opportunity to serve our spouse, to serve any kids that we have, also to kind of be of service to our kin, what we see in the data is that people actually end up being not just more stably married, but also more happily married as well. So the kind of turn towards a more soulmatey, a more kind of me first, a more individualistic model of marriage, that unfolded in the 70s and beyond for a lot of Americans, was a recipe both for not just divorce, but also often for being more likely to be miserable at some point in your marriage as well.